Why do smart people do some pretty dim things when it comes to their money and their financial well-being? Well, this is pretty much the study of behavioral economics. And there are people out there that spend their entire time researching, trying to understand why as humans, supposedly logical, smart, in our own interest, should be doing like a lot of behaviors that are generative for us, actually can do some pretty silly things. Because here's the truth. Primarily, we are driven by emotions. We're driven by unconscious triggers and reactions. And it's so important for us to understand this, because if we think that we're making decisions consciously with our logical mind, that it's always our choices are always going to be in our best interest, we're going to find ourselves pretty damn disappointed when we look back on some of our behaviors. And when we understand some of the economic behavioral dysfunctional type of natural behaviors we have, we can be forearmed. And they say forewarned is forearmed, because then we can put things in place to effectively protect our money, protect our wealth, protect our investments from ourselves. And so this is the topic of today's video, is understanding one of the key things that humans do which can really sabotage their financial well-being. And this is the fallacy of sunk cost. So what the hell is sunk cost? Why should you be aware of it? And what can you do about it? So sunk cost is where we look at the past and we look at the investment of time, money, and energy we have put into something. And we will hope that we will get some return on that in the future, even when evidence is telling us it sucks, it's died, we need to get rid of it. So sunk cost means, what are the costs that have happened in the past? Sunk means it's happened in the past, we've put those costs into it. So maybe you've got a business and maybe you spent money, buying the business or developing and growing it. But the reality is right now there is no market for that business. It's going backwards. At what point do you cut your losses and move forward so you can use your time, money, and your energy to create something that is going to work for you? Well, behavioral economics has shown that people are more likely to hold on to something that they've sunk a lot of investment into it, time, money, and energy, even when it isn't performing well. And in fact, they're more likely to hold on to their poor performers than their great performers. So people are more likely to either pilfer off or feed off their great investments, their great businesses, and fund that dodgy one just because they've got this perception that if they get rid of that, they lose. So this is so important to understand, that whenever you're evaluating anything, any investments in your life, but a business, relationships, your habits, you always got to take a baseline now and know that the past, history is history. It doesn't actually matter what went on. The only thing that matters is that investment, is that relationship, is that habit, is that eating regime, is that exercise regime, is it that business activity that you're doing, is it good for you now? Is it giving you the return you want? And is it going to continue in the future? Because most people go back and go, oh, but Anne, I've been investing in this dodgy TV dinner investment product that was sold to me by some financial advisor. I've got no idea what's in it. I can't see what the fees are. When I try and find out what it's invested in, I just get the runaround. But I've been investing in this for the last 20 years, so I think I'm just going to hold on to it. And this is a sunk cost fallacy. Stop. The past no longer matters. Only thing that matters is now and your future. What you've got to get rid of that sunk cost. The sunk means it's already gone. You can't recover the past, but you can make decisions now about your future. And you can say, does holding on to this investment, does actually putting more money into it, even when it's underperforming, is that going to get me to where I'm going? Or do I need to maybe, bite the bullet, maybe even lose some of the value so that I can liberate that money from the investment and get it working in a good quality asset where I can see the fees, where I can see what its performance. So now going forward, it can actually work for me. And this is the key thing we need to do, is catch ourselves when we're holding on to those dodgy lemons in our life, those things that aren't serving us just because there's been some historical investment of time, energy, money in it. Again, do you have a business that maybe you're holding on to that? It's really time for you to let it go. It's a really good practice that all areas of your life really come back with a clean slate and go, if I were to make that choice now to invest in this thing, or to spend time on that thing, or to stay in this relationship, or whatever it is that you're doing, right now with a clean slate, if there was no historical baggage, would I be making this choice? And that is what we always need to do, and then have the courage to make that change. Because when you hold on to stuff with that sunk cost fallacy, it's going to absolutely devastate your future, because the choices you're making today are the ones that affect your future, not the ones that have created the past. Your past created where you are now. What you're doing now is going to create your future. Another area of sunk cost fallacy is where people hold on to physical things that are no longer serving them. They might end up having a storage unit, or the attic or the garage full of furniture and bits and pieces that they're not using, because I go, oh, but Anne, I spent money on that, so I could never let it go. And I'm going, the money has gone. The value is only if you use something. You cannot ever get that money back, so let it go. Let go of the sunk cost and focus on what you can do now moving forward. So I hope you really can look in your life and go, are there areas in your life where you're letting the sunk cost fallacy, that there's some value in this, hold you back and prevent you from moving forward and getting your money, your assets, your time, your energy working for you and creating the life that you really want? My name is Ann Wilson, and if you're watching this anywhere than over at thewealthchef.com, then head on over there, and below this video, I'd love you to share, have you discovered a sunk cost fallacy in your life, and what are you going to do to get rid of it so you can move forward? And share it in as much detail as you can, because hundreds of people come here every week and read those comments, and your sharing might very well be the thing that is an aha for somebody else. And this is about the abundance and community, being able to have conversations about money in an open, empowered way that liberates us, because we let go of the ignorance or the shame or the guilt and go, oh, wow, it just is. Now I can make a new choice going forward. So I hope you can let go of any sunk cost fallacies that have been holding you back and move forward, and let all of your resources, your time, your energy, and your money work for you to let you live your greatest life possible.